Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Done Wisdom Morning Show. I am your host, Melissa P. Dunn. I am the CEO of MD Marketing Network and the founder of this Done Wisdom movement. In essence, as a marketing coach and a marketing expert, I help people grow in business and in life. So, today we are going to be speaking with one of my favorite people. As you know, as CEO of MD Marketing Network, as you may know, actually, I represent Live Healthy Miami Gardens in the beautiful city of Miami Gardens. And I'm going to reintroduce you today to one of my partners in crime, Dr. Jodi Grace. Hey, Dr. Grace, welcome.
Hello. Good morning.
I am so happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you.
So before we dive into the conversation, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do at St. Thomas University?
Will do. But before we dive into that, let's give a shout out to a belated happy birthday to Melissa. It was Saturday, so that's how we should start today. So happy birthday, Melissa. I hope you had a wonderful birthday, wonderful weekend, and I hope this year is your best ever.
So thank you. I received that. Thank you so much.
So my name is Jodi Grace, and I'm an associate professor of psychology at St. Thomas University in the beautiful Miami Gardens, Florida. And my own research, it looks at sort of some of the reasons why we delay or avoid necessary medical attention. You know, we all know someone, and maybe that someone is us, who has put off an important medical appointment or a medical screening. We've all been there, or if we haven't been, we have a close friend or relative who is maybe that reluctant patient who doesn't always make it to the doctor as they should, right? So I am blessed really to have the privilege to work with Live Healthy Miami Gardens as well as Melissa on what has been a community initiative to just improve overall health in our community and to do it together, right? Really grassroots community organization. So part of what I love to do is spend my time working with Live Healthy Miami Gardens on the fabulous campaign that Melissa and I are going to talk about today.
Yes, man, take your loved one to the doctor. We've been doing, this is like our 4th year now, right?
Year 4, and during a pandemic.
Yes. So tell us basically the basics of the campaign. What's the Take Your Loved One to the Doctor month all about?
Okay, so, actually nationally, this already existed as a day, right? As a national day. And then
Tom Joyner from Hot 105 started it, actually.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so, we were looking in the community and asking questions in the community. And my team at St. Thomas worked on this project to find out what's going on. Why aren't people getting to the doctor maybe when they should? Or what's going to promote people getting to the doctor? And we found something that in psychology we call subjective norms. Okay, what that means is that when people important to you, your family, your friends, when those people believe it is important for you to go to the doctor to get a wellness check, like a yearly wellness check, you are more likely to do it. So if that loved one of yours says, hey, I think you really need to get to the doctor, it makes sense, right? We're more likely to do it. We found that that is true in Miami Gardens, in the local community. So based on that and the pre-existing National Day, we decided in Live Healthy Miami Gardens to make it a year-round movement, to take your loved one to the doctor. Because really, who knows who the reluctant patients are? We do, right? Not meaning me. I mean, we know our loved ones. So The idea was to get our community members who already are pretty good about going to the doctor, because in our project, we learned that. We actually learned that the Miami Gardens community were health conscious. They were going to their appointments. They were getting their screenings, the people we talked to. But of course, we didn't talk to everyone. And there are people in the community that we couldn't reach. Who can reach them? Our community members, right? So we all know someone. So we said, this is a great way, already existing campaign, to make it local. So we made the month of October our campaign month, right? Melissa knows all this because she's been really leading it. So, and the idea is that I'm going to take responsibility for myself and take myself to my wellness check. Or, primary health care could include going to the dentist, which has the highest rates of delay and medical avoidance, or it can include going to your eye doctor, but we need to get that yearly wellness check. So
Yes.
I take myself and I commit to take myself to the doctor. And then I think of that person in my life that I know could benefit from this, who hasn't been to the doctor in a while, who maybe puts it off, who's so busy or taking care of other people that they don't take care of themselves. So I choose that person and I say, I'm going to get them to the doctor as well. How do I do that? Talk to them, help them make an appointment, just support them in it, right? And then I'm taking myself and I'm taking that loved one to the doctor. We're going to give you 90 days. We'd like you to do it in October, and we're going to have opportunities to do it. But in 90 days, you're going to take yourself and your loved one to the doctor. If we do this, we are improving community health overall. That's the long version, Melissa.
Yeah, but you know what? This is so important, particularly for women, right? Because first of all, October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Right.
And if you're a woman of a certain age like me, I just turned 48. So I should be getting my mammogram. I should be getting my pap smear. And so there's a series of well checks that it's important for me to get every year. Yes. And so this is the time to do it. Like we should not be making a delay. So if you're watching this and you're a woman, make your appointment for your annual GYN checkup as well as your annual physical checkup. Yes. And then bring another woman with you.
And you know,
dad, whoever. Yeah,
exactly. And isn't it true that it is easy to put it off? Like I talk about this all the time, but I have absolutely put things off when it comes to my health. And I talk about this all the time. It is easy to put it off. But we can, as a community, talk to each other, remind each other, hold each other accountable. Have you had your mammogram? Have you had your wellness check this year? So I think doing this with the community is a great way to support each other. Mm-hmm.
It's important. So, Dr. Grace, you've heard me share before that this campaign really saved my life. And I have to tell you, it kind of saved my life again. I'm going to get emotional talking about this. But about 3 years ago, I did what I'm asking the community to do. And I actually took the pledge, made my appointment, went to the doctor, and found out that I had diabetes. And at that time, my A1C was a 10, right? Which is not good. It's super bad. But I, got on a plan. I was very consistent. And then I got my A1C down to a 7. And then I had a bunch of issues and I needed to have surgery. So then my A1C went back up again to a 7. So after my surgery, after my hysterectomy, it went back up to a 7. But lately, since I once I started campaigning and I won the election, I haven't really been as disciplined as I should be, right? Because now for whatever reason, I'm managing a whole bunch of different schedules. I haven't been as disciplined. So because I knew this campaign was going to start again, I actually went to my doctor last week. And she was like, you know what? Let's order some blood tests. I got a call on Friday while I was in Atlanta. And my A1C is 11.7. Right now, my A1C is 11.7. So this means that my diabetes is completely out of control. And if I do not take the necessary steps to fix this, I could lose my eyesight. I could have all different kinds of complications. And so this campaign for me this year takes on an even additional meaning, because my doctor told me, okay, you need to make an appointment with endocrinology, you know what I mean, the diabetes doctor, the specialist. I have had the number on my desk for 8 months, Dr. Grace. I haven't made the appointment. She told me to make an appointment to see a nutritionist, because even though I have adjusted my diet and I stopped eating meat, I'm now eating mainly, I'm more of a pescatarian. I have lost some weight, but the way and the timing that I'm eating and the types of blood sugars that I'm having is not, the way that I'm eating is not optimal, right? It's good if I'm not diabetic, but it's not so good because I am. And my blood sugar was 300 this morning.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, you guys, we got to do it. And as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me.
Same. I mentioned dental care a lot, and I don't know why that's the one that I tend to put off the most, but the campaign pushes me too, because I've made these appointments and it's expensive, let's be honest, on dental care. And so the campaign makes me, we don't want to be hypocrites, and the campaign makes me say, get on it. So, it is about taking your loved one, but I think, Melissa, you're bringing up such a good point. It's about ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so take yourself. That's the first thing we say. Take yourself and a loved one to the doctor. And I know that through the campaign, and Melissa, hearing your story, we've talked to other, and actually women, who said that they would put things off and make sure that other people were taken care of. And those women, as part of the campaign, took themselves to the doctor, and they learned about some things that really needed to be addressed or taken care of. So it might not be the loved one who also needs that appointment. It might be yourself. So by doing this campaign, and Melissa mentioned the pledge, and the pledge is what we're going to be asking people to do this month. And we've talked about it. That's the pledge, to take yourself and a loved one to the doctor within the next 90 days. And diabetes is something. Absolutely. And diabetes is silent.
Twice it's saving my life.
Right. And diabetes can be so silent, right? Some of these things we know our bodies, but some things we really need the assistance of getting a screening and knowing the numbers, right? Like you know your numbers now, and you know how to regulate that. And it is difficult. I think saying to people, it's difficult to find the time. It's difficult to find the way to afford it. I absolutely agree. I wouldn't act like it's not, but it's such a priority that we have to make it happen. We have to make it happen.
We've just got to get it done. And then the cool thing about this campaign is that starting on October 1st, and the campaign is not, I just want to say, if you're watching this live right now, the campaign actually starts on Friday, October 1st. It's not live right now, but we are actually doing a pre-campaign kickoff to talk about it on this show. So you're going to go to livehealthymiamigardens.com. And if you live in the city of Miami Gardens, you'll see resources where you'll be able to access free or low-cost care if you are uninsured or underinsured, right? And you can also take the pledge at the website, but in addition, you can text the word doctor to 797979 and basically saying, listen, I'm in, I know how important this is, I am going to take myself and my loved one to the doctor. Let's do this. Yes. So starting October 1st, this is the call to action, you guys.
Exactly. And I always tell my students that goals that are not written down, we call those wishes. So this is the way you write it down, right? This is the way you write it down, by taking the pledge, by texting the word doctor. You have to spell it out, as Melissa has there, DOCTOR, to 797979. That's how you're going to make this pledge, to take yourself and your loved one to the doctor starting October 1st. So, we think in our mind, oh, I'm going to get to it, I'll do it. But taking the pledge is your commitment. And then when we do that, we're much more likely to follow through on that commitment. We all need that push, right?
Yeah. Well, we talk about commitment a lot on this show. And if you've been following me for a while, you heard me talk about the 7 levels of commitment, right? Level 1, you're just like, Level 4, you're like, okay, you're going to do it. You want everybody to get along. You're going to do it. Level 7 commitment is like, you're going to do it or die trying. No pun intended, right? You are going to get it done or die trying. You are like committed, like your life depends on it, committed. And so starting October 1st, if you live in the city of Miami Gardens, you either go to work, worship, live, study there. I want you to text the word doctor to 797979 and then follow through by taking yourself and a loved one to the doctor. Is so, so, so important, you guys. I can't even begin to tell you how important this campaign is.
I agree. And
So,
we talk a lot also, Melissa, about, and you may want to segue into this, but I'll just give a shout out. We talk so much about, I study doctor-patient relationships, right? So how we talk to our doctors, our medical practitioners, our nurses, our nurse practitioners. And one thing that I also like to encourage people about is really to take this in your hands, right? You are responsible for your health. So don't be shy, don't be timid with the doctor. They know what they're doing, but you know your body. So make sure that when you are going to the doctor, once you are fulfilling your pledge, that you are taking that control. Be empowered. Talk to your doctor. Say what you feel. Don't be shy. They need to know it all, and they've heard it all, let's be honest, but really have your voice heard. In my own family's medical challenges, we've had a lot. And I learned over the years with my dad and his health challenges that you really have to have your voice heard. Of course, there are all types of doctors, and some of them are wonderful listeners, but I've also learned that it's important that you get your voice heard in that doctor's office or with the nurse or nurse practitioner. So I want to talk, and I know Melissa's going to promote a really exciting summit that we have happening later in October. So Melissa, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I do actually. But before I do, I want to make sure you guys know that if you want to find out more about this campaign and the summit and all of the free resources available, I want you guys to go to livehealthymiamigardens.com. And you can also follow Live Healthy Miami Gardens on Instagram and on Facebook at Live Healthy MG. So yeah, we have a couple of things happening this month that's really exciting actually. So we have in addition to some amazing content around the importance of going to the doctor, we're also going to be pushing out a screening days that are happening at different locations throughout the month in Miami Gardens, including free mammogram appointments, right? With a mammogram. And in addition to that, we have a health empowerment summit coming up on the 14th of October. And at that summit, there are going to be some really amazing speakers. We're going to be speaking about the importance of going to the doctor. You're going to get some tips. You're going to get some empowerment speakers. We're going to have a whole session with millennials that's being moderated by, some really cool, hip, younger people. And yeah, it's going to be, I think, a really good time.
Yeah, I agree. And as we think about this campaign, I keep thinking this year, we've talked about this, of it being 3 levels, right? So we want to take ourselves and a loved one to the doctor and be thinking about the fact that those flu shots are so important this year and the time is arriving, right? They recommend September and October really for flu shots. So this is a perfect time to get your flu shot. And as Melissa mentioned, these screening days that we have where there's going to be free opportunities, we're offering flu shots. So you could take yourself and a loved one to also get a flu shot, right? And
get your COVID vaccine.
Exactly. And then the third level is take yourself, if you haven't done so already, and a loved one to get a COVID vaccine, right? So, and if you are over 65 or you have some you're immunocompromised or have some immunosuppression issues, you can also get your booster, right? So if you have already been vaccinated, you can get your booster if you are over 65 and experiencing some immunocompromised situations. So that's important to know as well. So for those who are vaccinated, they're recommending it about 8 months after your vaccine that you would consider getting the booster. But for those of you who are not vaccinated, it is definitely not too late. It's super important to get that COVID vaccine. So think of it as taking yourself and your loved one to the doctor to get screened for things that, you may not know about, or just to get that yes check that everything's okay. Take yourself and your loved one to get a flu shot, free flu shots. Take yourself and a loved one to get that COVID vaccine, or if you need it, the booster, free. Yeah. This is such a great opportunity this month. And there are 4 days in the month of October where you can go in Miami Gardens and get these screenings, a COVID vaccine, a flu shot, As Melissa said, women, a mammogram. FIU's bringing their mammo van to Jesse Trice on Friday, October 22nd. So that's awesome. Thank you, FIU. So that's going to be a great opportunity. And we have a screening day on Tuesday, October 19th that has extended hours, right? Goes late until 7 p.m. And that's at CFCE in Miami Gardens, or Center for Family and Child Enrichment. And they are doing pap smears, women, for 21 years old to 65 years old. And that's one of those appointments sometimes women put off. No one really loves getting the pelvic exam or the pap smear, right? We tend to put it off. But it's so critical to catch cervical cancer early. That's how we catch cervical cancer early. And cervical cancer has great treatment options available, especially if detected early. So that's the way. So here's a chance on Tuesday, October 19th, to get a pap smear if you haven't had one recently between the ages of 21 and 65. So share this with all the women that you know. And then also mammograms, right? To get mammograms at Jesse Trice Community Health System on Friday, October 22nd. That's an important week because we have 2 days, right? That Tuesday and that Friday. They're both offering COVID tests, COVID vaccines, flu shots. And Melissa, I said that I sometimes put off going to the dentist. Don't tell our little partners who are dentists. Now they help me go. So, but on both of those days, that Tuesday, October 19th and Friday, October 22nd, there's free oral health screenings to screen for oral cancer or to get your teeth cleaned, which is expensive. You can make an appointment and get that done. And that's where we see the biggest delay or avoidance for a variety of reasons, right? But here's a chance to get that done.
I'm so excited because I'm planning to get my booster while I'm down there, right? And B, I am excited because come Friday, everybody will have the chance to go to livehealthymiamigardens.com and we'll be listing all of the different locations. And then there'll be a link there for you to actually book appointments. So a lot of exciting things happening, a lot of exciting things coming up. Go to livehealthymiamigardens.com. And of course, as always, take yourself and a loved one to the doctor. So Dr. Grace, tell us what's happening next with you in terms of your research. What are you working on now?
Well, I'll give one more shout out since I am a psychologist, right? I'm a research psychologist, not actually a therapist, but I believe in the importance of keeping our physical, mental health and social health. It all comes together, right? So I just want to give one more shout out for that week of screenings that we're going to have mental health screenings. And this is a great opportunity. It has been such a struggle for everyone over the past couple of years, right? So I think that this would be a great time to just do a check-in on our mental health. And it's free, which that's kind of hard to find. So I just want to give one more shout out on that. So for me personally, I really do a lot of research on why do we put these, even me, why do we put these important decisions about our health off? I also look at inclusiveness in medical appointments, and non-judgment. Sometimes when we go to a doctor's appointment, we feel a little judged. We feel a little judged because, maybe we put off being there for a while, or maybe we didn't take the medication like we should have, or we haven't eaten as well as we should have. We gained a little weight, all of these things that we may face. I study things like HIV and sexually transmitted infections. And sometimes people are nervous about going and getting tested for that because they worry what people may say or think about them. So I try to find ways to encourage people to realize that we all experience health challenges and no one's perfect. So feel free to talk to your doctors. And I'm very interested in working with medical providers, doctors, nurses, on how to express non-judgment. They may believe in their heart they're not judging their patient, but that doesn't mean that the patient realizes that. So how can our health providers communicate non-judgment, communicate inclusiveness, that everyone is welcome in the doctor's office to talk about their lives, what they're experiencing, right? So this is something that I'm always looking at, is how can we find ways to make the doctor's office really a safe space. I mean, sometimes people laugh about that notion of a safe space. I believe it is so important when we're talking about our health. Sometimes doctors are the first line of defense when it comes to something like relationship violence.
Yeah.
So they may notice bruising. They may notice things like that. And so the ability to feel comfortable and safe to talk about this with your doctor, they then can get you the appropriate resource. They can direct you to the right person, right, to help you in those situations. So if we can make that place a really open place for communication, that doctor may be able to help in that moment, may be able to provide resources. So it's one of my, I guess, long-term goals is to continue to increase that non-judgment space and inclusiveness in medical appointments. And then also, we worked recently in the community looking at reasons for delay or avoidance of the vaccine. And the COVID vaccine. And what we found locally in the community is not probably going to surprise anyone, but there's a lot of misconceptions about the COVID vaccine, right? The fact that it's going to somehow impact fertility, that it's too new to be safe, that it somehow is about government control, that people need to be afraid because obviously historically there have been situations where people were treated horribly as part of so-called medical experiments, right? I can reference Tuskegee. I can reference the abuse of Henrietta Lacks cells. So there's a lot of instances. So there's fear, right? And there's distrust. And there's also belief and endorsement and some myths about COVID. So we also worked in the community, and I know, Melissa, you have been leading the communication piece on this to tell people, this COVID vaccine, not the specific COVID vaccine, but the technology to develop the COVID vaccine has been in the works for a decade on other vaccines. So it's actually not brand new. The fact that there's no impact on fertility for this vaccine or vaccines of this type. Interestingly, women have reported some menstrual changes after the vaccine, but there's no link to infertility. But so if people get nervous, right, if they see that they got their period earlier or later, that may make them nervous, understandably. But a lot of things, as women know, can affect your menstrual cycle, right? Stress, change in diet. So that is something that is being studied, but there's no link to infertility. We've also talked about the fact that the information that we're getting on this vaccine and the evidence and the clinical trials, the things that take a while to do, it's been really moving at a good pace because of the attention, focus, and resources. That's why we've been able to take the COVID research a little bit faster than maybe some other areas. So, one thing to encourage our community about is to really ask those questions. I have no problem with people asking questions. Can I trust it? Is this too new? And remember that now it's not emergency authorization. Pfizer has FDA approval. Before it was an emergency authorization, right? When we're short term. Now it has FDA approval. The studies are in. So that is something that people can feel comfortable about. But be empowered and ask questions and get those questions answered. So I had to get my COVID vaccine plug in, Melissa, because, I just think that COVID is now the third leading cause of death in the United States. It's the third leading cause.
Yeah, it's a critical public health dilemma for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dr. Grace. So any final words of wisdom?
Oh, Melissa, I wish I had some great words of wisdom. I think I would just say, in honor of the Empowerment Summit that's coming up, is that your body. So trust yourself, but use a team. So, and by team, I mean, like Melissa said, a nutritionist, perhaps, a doctor, a nurse. Get your team around you, get your community around you. Your body, be empowered, but seek the support of the community and the support of a medical team to make sure you're as healthy as you can be physically, mentally, and in your social relationships.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Grace.
And Melissa, happy birthday again.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Done Wisdom Morning Show. I want you to take the pledge to take yourself and our loved one to the doctor. It's so important. You just heard me share my own story about how this campaign saved my life. So starting on Friday, if you live in the city of Miami Gardens or you worship, or go to school there, text the word doctor to 797979. Take the pledge and then follow up and actually take yourself and a loved one to the doctor. because it absolutely could save your life. It's saving mine, not once, but twice. Thank you again. And remember, be kind and loving to yourself, because you, my dear, absolutely deserve it. Be well.